From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your afternoon update.
Well, as you know, this is a leap year, and some of you might just kind of go with the flow and understand that every 4 years we have an extra day in February. Others may not know and may be wondering about it. Well, most of us know that a year is 365 days. That is, it takes 365 days to go around the sun, but technically, it actually takes 365.25 days. So what do we do with that extra day after 4 years? Well, instead of letting the season shift, we add 1 day to the month of February, which is typically 28 days. And instead, every 4 years, we give it 29 days. Some people like to say that whenever it's a leap year, anything you do that day doesn't count. Boy, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice indeed? All right, take a look at Crescent City. You can see the overcast skies. You've seen some of the showers. The winds have been howling up there, especially this morning. And you can still see those winds kind of gusting. The camera has been kind of blowing in the wind as well. We take you out to Lake Oroville, North Forebay. You can see the clouds moving. You can see of course, the water moving with the wind as well. Winds have been pretty gusty in the valley. This was not blowing very hard this morning, but now those winds have really started to pick up as that cold front approaches. Now, we also take a look at Lassen Park, and of course, this is not a moving camera, so all we can do is see the still image. It's always beautiful to look at Lassen Park, right? But there you can, of course, see the low clouds kind of lingering around the area. Take a look at some of the peak gusts we've seen in the last 24 hours. And of course, most of them were last night into this morning, and not to mention even going into the afternoon. 62-mile-an-hour gust out of Crescent City. Not as bad in Eureka, but close to 40 miles per hour. Take a look at the valley. Oh man, over 50 miles per hour as expected for Redding, Red Bluff, Chico, about 41 miles per hour. And we're really seeing those gusty winds off to the north and east as well. And that is going to continue through the afternoon. But the main cold front that's producing these gusty winds, which is right here, you can see, this is going to be shifting to the south and east throughout the day. And behind the cold front, the winds should slacken a bit. I mean, it's still going to be gusty out there today, but kind of the peak of it will be as that cold front passes through. Now, the high impactful storm arrives today. That's what we're seeing today. And the main impact, or the biggest story so far, has been those winds in some areas. We've seen power outages as a result, but we're also seeing some rain and not to mention snow. Now, also with that cold front, in advance of the cold front, ahead of the cold front, we're seeing snow levels upwards of around 4,000 to 5,000 feet. However, once the cold front passes, the colder air moves in, and we're seeing those snow levels drop down to approximately 2,000 feet, give or take. But we do have overall heavy rain, snow, and gusty winds, not to mention thunderstorms in the forecast. Travel delays Thursday, Friday, and Saturday because of the low snow levels. And we're also looking at this rain and snow continuing, really, along with that cooler weather, through a good portion of next week. So this cooler and unsettled pattern, it's going to stick around for a while. Now, I want to show you the storm timeline. I have adjusted it. I've adjusted the overall intensity and, of course, the travel caution, all right? So for today, we're calling it a moderate impact. And the reason I say that is because snow levels are beginning to drop, but they'll be their lowest come Friday and in particular on Saturday. So the main impact for driving is going to be the winds. That can be a problem. But on top of that, maybe some of the heavier rainfall that could produce maybe some mudslides and debris flows. But the rain hasn't really gotten all that heavy for the most part. So that's why I'm calling it really travel with caution. Especially those gusty winds, just keep both hands on the wheel and take it easy. And of course, if it does start raining pretty heavily, just be careful with that as well. Now by Friday, by tomorrow, it's going to be more of a high impact. And travel is not recommended. Because number one, we're seeing gusty winds, not as strong as they were today, but still gusty winds nonetheless on Friday. Snow levels dropping down between 2,000 and 3,000 feet. So we are seeing lower snow levels, which will mean more chain requirements and more hazards on the road. So you'll have blowing snow on top of that as well. So there will be a lot of chain requirements on Friday, and not to mention Saturday. High impact, travel not recommended, even lower snow levels by Saturday. I've increased Sunday from a low to a moderate impact. And the reason being is this storm system is actually moving slower than anticipated. It was expected to be to our east by Sunday, but will still be a little bit over us on Sunday, giving us more snow than expected. And with snow levels still down between 1,000 and 2,000 feet, that will continue to bring us more chain requirements. So definitely a lot of things to pay attention to as we go into the weekend and even early parts of next week. 6 o'clock today, the light blue and dark blue is of course the snow and the heavy snow. Now as we go into 6 p.m., we're not seeing a lot of activity on I-5 here, which is obviously good news. You look at Highway 299 west, and it looks like for the most part it is rain. However, we may start to see some chain requirements developing here by tonight and into tomorrow morning. 5 a.m. Friday, now we're seeing snow on I-5 north of Reading. Now we're seeing at the very least, a mix on Highway 299 west, but could be looking at some snow by Friday morning. As we go into Friday about 10 a.m., now we're beginning to see more of that heavier snow making its way into the forecast. That is going to have a bigger impact on your travel, even on Highway 299 west, and not to mention on Interstate 5, that is, north of Reading. So looking at the overall impacts for today, it's going to be in the limited range here for I-5, not to mention 299, and there are going to be some chain requirements, as there already are and have been this morning, east of I-5 and over the higher mountain passes. We take you to tomorrow. Yeah, now we're seeing getting in that moderate to major range on I-5 near Mount Shasta City, not to mention Highway 89. And here's a look at Highway 299. We are going to be within the moderate to even major stage as well on Highway 299. Oregon Summit, Oregon Mountain, Buckhorn Summit, Berry Summit, looking at potential for some chain requirements there as well. And of course, east of I-5, always going to be that. That's where we have the higher mountain passes. Things improve slightly on Saturday, but still looking at least moderate conditions here for both Highway 299 west and I-5 north of Reading. This is the big trough of low pressure, broad trough of low pressure, and cold. You see the speckled clouds, that's the colder air. Here's the main cold front right here. So in advance of the cold front is the warmer air, otherwise known as the warm sector, okay? That warmer air is the reason why snow levels started off fairly high. But as the cold front passed through, number one, you're seeing very strong winds. But number two, behind that cold front is the colder air. That's why they call it a cold front, because behind the cold front is where that colder air is. So as that colder air moves in, our snow levels begin to drop. There's the area of low pressure. Here's the big trough I was talking about. There's the colder air associated with it. That colder air digs to the south even more. So colder air continuing to dive to the south here through the day on Friday. But the coldest air is still not on top of us, but still very low snow levels down to about 2,000 to 3,000 feet for your Friday. As we go into Saturday, now the colder air starts to move in overhead. This is when snow levels could drop down to as low as 1,000 feet, and maybe even locally lower in some cases. This is when we could see the potential for a mix for places along the coast, and not to mention the north end of the valley, around Reading, Palo Cedro, Anderson, maybe even Cottonwood. Sunday, now if the last few days, this storm right here, the storm that's impacting us now and will continue to impact us through the weekend, this was actually off to the east, and by Sunday, we were over here. Okay, so now it's taking longer for this storm system to move out, and we're going to feel the impacts of the storm a bit longer. It's not until Monday that storm finally moves out. However, check this out. We've got some more cold air coming in from the north and west as we go through next week. So the colder air will still be in place. All right, now to add insult to injury, we're talking about heavy snow, not to mention rain at times too, and gusty winds. But we've got to be on the lookout for thunderstorms. Now with these thunderstorms today, tomorrow, and Saturday, we've got to watch for the potential for not only lightning and heavy rainfall at times and gusty winds, but hail. This is a cold storm system. So when you have thunderstorms and these types of storms that are very cold, it doesn't take much for us to see that hail. So we could see the potential for some accumulating hail associated with these thunderstorms. and that can be a driving hazard as well. All right, so let's take a look at Futurecast, walking through the timing. Here's today at noon. You can see that cold front right here. Clearly see that cold front right here. Behind it, colder air, snow level starting to drop. In advance of it, warmer air, snow levels a bit higher. Gusty winds along this band as well. Now, as that cold front pushes off to the east, the winds relax a little, but it will still be gusty. Now, another thing we'll notice here is behind the cold front, we're seeing less in the way of precipitation. That is, we're not seeing a lot of rain, and we're really not seeing a ton of snow at this point. But it doesn't take much snow for us to start seeing it accumulating on those highways, and that can be a problem. And especially when we're talking snow levels around 1,500 to 2,500 feet. That's this evening. We take you into midnight tonight, and you can see kind of another band of some heavier rain near the valley, and not to mention the snow in the higher elevations. Now, the overall flow is coming in from southwest to northeast. That's the main jet stream. That's that trough of low pressure I was talking about. Look what happens. I mean, we're just continuing to see it all coming in from the north and west. And in that flow, we're seeing these disturbances. So every once in a while, we'll see a band of heavy rain and not to mention heavy snow making its way through. So as we go into 6 a.m. on Friday, looks like we've got another band of heavier snow moving through. So by late tonight and early tomorrow morning, this is when we could be really looking at some really bad conditions on the mountain highways. Look at on I-5, heavy, this is the dark blue, that's heavy snow. That's on Highway 299 West as well. Not to mention off to the east here. And whenever I'm talking about I-5 North and 299 West, you can always guarantee and bet that it's going to be just as bad off to the east of I-5. So it usually just goes without saying. Here we go, noon on Friday. See another batch of heavier rainfall in the valley, another batch of heavier rainfall off to the east. Check this out. There's another batch of heavier rainfall coming in Friday night into Saturday morning. You see that? Heavy rainfall, heavy snow. Look at that in Trinity County. I mean, just all snow. I mean, we're down to about 1,000 to 1,500 feet. Hayfork, Weaverville, you're seeing snow at this point. Mount Shasta City, Bernie, 1,000 feet and higher, you're seeing snow. It's just the heaviest snow will be above 3,000 feet, okay? Then we go into Saturday. This is midnight, Friday night into Saturday morning. Heavier rainfall once again here for the valley. We're still seeing the snow. And we're still seeing that flow just kind of streaming into Northern California. Here's Saturday morning, 6 a.m. There's all the snow that we're seeing. More chain requirements galore, okay? Then we take you into Saturday around 2 p.m. Some pockets of heavy snow in there, maybe some showers, maybe some thunderstorms in the valley. That's 2 p.m. Snow levels still around 1,000 to 1,500 feet. Here's 5 p.m. Saturday. There's another batch of heavy rainfall, that heavy snow associated with that, and more coming in behind that. And look at this. There's more showers and thunderstorms popping up for Saturday night and into Sunday. All right, so we take a look at the forecast rain totals. And this is coming from our in-house forecast model. It's going through 5 p.m. I think for the most part, we could see anywhere from a half an inch to an inch in the valley. However, for areas that do get caught under these thunderstorms, now you're talking about heavier rainfall than what you're seeing here. And I do expect to probably even see more rainfall than what we're seeing there for the coast as well. Taking a look at the forecast snow totals, this is also coming from our in-house forecast model. This goes through about 5 p.m. on Saturday. It's doing a pretty good job. It might be overdoing it for Hayfork and Weaverville, but I do anticipate to see about a foot of snow, give or take, for both Weaverville and Hayfork, maybe a little bit more than that in Etna. Through 5 p.m., I think we could be approaching 2 feet of snow, especially once all is said and done for Mount Shasta City. There's Shingletown at 4 to 8 inches. Maybe a little bit more than that, quite honestly, at 3,500 feet. Viola, you're going to be right up there with what Chester is going to see. And I think this is underdoing it as well. We could possibly already be up to 2 feet of snow for the Chester area by Saturday evening. But again, keep in mind, we've got more snow, more rain coming in Saturday night and into Sunday. This might be overdoing it for El Turris as well, but you get the idea. We are seeing some decent amounts of snow, and this is really going to help the snowpack. Because yes, we're talking about a lot of snow for us, but down to the Sierra, measuring it is upwards of 5 to even upwards of 10 feet of snow. You want to talk about really improving that snowpack. That's been a concern. It's been below average. We'll see what this snowstorm does to that snowpack. should be pretty good. So here we are. We're going to take you into your Friday. Now notice the winds are not as strong as what we're seeing here for today, but they're still going to be very gusty nonetheless, and that's going to continue to bring us a potential for more power outages across the region. But by Saturday, those winds should finally start to at least subside, but we'll still call it breezy for your Saturday. All right, now let's take a look at the long range. Again, we're looking at this trough of low pressure, and as long as we're kind of in that trough, we're going to continue to see that rain and snow and that colder air in place. So here we are on Sunday. We're still in the trough. Now remember, the last few days, this trough was off to the east, and that meant less in the way of rain and snow, but still looking like some decent amounts of snow coming in on Sunday as well. Still around 1,000-foot snow levels on Sunday. Monday, still some leftover activity. And then as we go into your Tuesday, maybe a bit of a break. And then as we go into your Tuesday evening and into Wednesday, we will be looking at, of course, that you can see that rain coming up from the northwest. That's what's going to be coming in here as we go into Wednesday. All right. So there you can see Wednesday, you see that rain and even some low elevation snow that's going to be associated with that. And then going into Thursday, that dives down to the south. But look at this, more activity coming up from the north and west. All right, let's talk about those wave heights. There you can see upwards of about 14 to 15, even 16 feet today. They're going to climb and increase as we take you on into your Friday. All right, let's take a look at our forecast for today. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s for the valley, mid 40s for the eastern mountains, although colder up in Siskiyou County, only in the mid to upper 30s there. Trinity County, mid to upper 40s, and there you can see those low to mid 50s out along the coast. Better chances for thunderstorms today along the coast, but I think everyone else in the valley in particular could maybe see some activity as well. Off and on chances for rain and snow. Snow levels down to 2,000 feet Friday, 1,000 feet over the weekend. And then looks like those snow levels start to climb a little bit by Monday and into Wednesday of next week. There's that chance for showers and thunderstorms, still windy today and tomorrow. The wind should subside. We'll call it breezy on Saturday, and then a mix possibly on Sunday. By the way, we could even see a mix on Saturday as well. And the best chance for, if we want to talk about a chance for snow accumulating in the valley around Redding, it would be Saturday night and early Sunday morning. That's when some of the colder air is in place. We'll see. But for now, I'm just going to call for a mix on Saturday and Sunday. Maybe as far south as Red Bluff. That may be hard pressed, but I think it'll be mainly in the form of rain for Chico. All right, let's take a look at your 7-day outlook for the North Coast. And there's the chance for showers and thunderstorms the next 3 days. Windy today and tomorrow. Still a bit breezy on Saturday. And then there's, of course, maybe even that mix for both Saturday and Sunday for the coast. And then more showers off and on for Monday through Wednesday of next week.